They thought he was just another helpless old man sitting alone at the bar. When the biker gang started throwing punches and laughing at the 85-year-old veteran, no one intervened. But what they didn't know was that this wasn't just any old man. He was the father of the most elite female Special Forces commander in the military. And when she got the call, she didn't come alone. From which city are you watching this incredible story today? If you believe that some lines should never be crossed, especially when it comes to family, hit that subscribe button and prepare for one of the most satisfying stories of justice you'll ever hear. William Bill Mitchell sat quietly at the corner of Murphy's bar, nursing his usual beer and watching the evening news on the mounted TV. At 85 years old, the retired Marine Corps First Sergeant still maintained perfect posture, his weather hand steady as he lifted his glass. His silver hair was neatly combed, and despite his age, there was still something unmistakably military about his bearing. IT was his weekly ritual. Every Saturday at 7 p.m., he'd walk the 3 blocks from his apartment to Murphy's, order a Budweiser, and sit in peaceful silence. The bar owner, Danny Murphy, always saved the same corner stool for him out of respect. Bill had been coming here for 15 years, ever since his wife passed away, and everyone knew him as a quiet old veteran who never caused trouble. But this Saturday would be different. The roar of motorcycle engines outside shattered the peaceful atmosphere as a group of 6 bikers burst through the front door. They were loud, aggressive, and clearly looking for trouble. Their leather jackets bore the patches of the Iron Wolves, a notorious motorcycle club known for intimidation and violence. The leader, a massive man with a gray beard and arms covered in tattoos, scanned the bar with predatory eyes. His name was Rex, and at 6 feet 4 inches and 280 pounds, he was used to get his way through fear and brute force. "This place is dead," Rex announced loudly, his voice cutting through the nervous silence. "Where's everybody hiding?" The other patrons instinctively looked away, hoping to avoid confrontation. The bartender, a young man named Jake, continued wiping glasses with trembling hands. Clearly intimidated by the gang's presence, Rex's eyes fell on Bill, sitting peacefully in his corner, completely unbothered by their dramatic entrance. Something about the old man's calm demeanor irritated him. "Hey, old man," Rex called out, swaggering over to Bill's corner. "You deaf or just stupid? I'm talking to everyone in here." Bill looked up slowly, his blue eyes meeting Rex's with quiet dignity. "I heard you fine, son. Just minding my own business." The word son hit Rex like a slap. Here was this frail old man, easily 40 years a senior, showing no fear whatsoever. It made Rex feel small, and he didn't like that feeling. "Son," Rex laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Listen here, Gramps, this is our bar now. You got a problem with that?" Bill took another sip of his beer and looked back at the TV. No problem at all. Plenty of room for everyone. But Rex wasn't satisfied with being ignored. He moved closer, his bulk casting a shadow over Bill's small frame. "I don't think you understand. We want your seat. This whole corner, actually." The bar had gone completely silent now. Every patron watched nervously as the confrontation escalated, but no one moved to help. This was exactly what Rex wanted, an audience for his dominance display. Bill looked around the bar calmly, then back at Rex. "I've been sitting in this spot for 15 years. Never had a problem before." "Well, you got a problem now," Rex snarled, grabbing Bill's shoulder roughly. "Get your old bones off that stool before I move you myself." That's when Bill did something that surprised everyone. He smiled. Not a fearful smile, but the calm, knowing smile of a man who'd seen real danger and knew this wasn't it. "Son," Bill said quietly, "I served 3 tours in Vietnam, spent 30 years in the Marine Corps, and buried more friends than you probably ever had. You really think you scare me?" Rex's face turned red with rage. This old man was disrespecting him in front of his crew, making him look weak. He couldn't let that stand. "You think being some washed-up soldier makes you tough?" Rex roared, drawing back his fist. "Let me show you what real tough looks like." The punch landed squarely on Bill's cheek, sending the elderly man tumbling from his stool to the floor. Blood trickled down his weathered face as he struggled to get back up, his age making the simple task difficult. The bar erupted in shocked gasps, but still, no one moved to help. Rex's crew laughed and high-fived each other. enjoying the spectacle of the old man's humiliation. That's what happens when you don't show respect, Rex announced at the bar. Anyone else want to learn the same lesson? Bill slowly pulled himself up using the bar stool, his dignity intact despite the blood on his face. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, his fingers moving with surprising steadiness as he dialed a number. "What are you going to do? Call the cops?" one of the bikers taunted. "They'll take an hour to get here and will be long gone." But Bill wasn't calling the police. The number he dialed was programmed as Sarah, emergency only. The phone rang once before a crisp, professional voice answered. "Dad? What's wrong?" "Hey, sweetheart," Bill said calmly, pressing a napkin to his bleeding cheek. "I'm at Murphy's Bar on 5th Street. Had a little disagreement with some gentlemen here. Nothing I can't handle, but thought you should know." There was a pause on the other end, then a voice that could cut through steel. "Dad, are you hurt?" "Just a scratch." "Honey, but these boys seem to think they own the place now." Another pause, longer this time, when Sarah Mitchell spoke again. Her voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to command. "Dad, I need you to stay exactly where you are. Don't engage with anyone. I'll be there in 30 minutes. "You don't need to dash," Bill started, but the line had already gone dead. Rex and his crew were still laughing, oblivious to what was coming their way. They had no idea that Bill's daughter was Colonel Sarah Mitchell, commander of the 27th Special Operations Group, one of the most elite female-led military units in the country. And they certainly had no idea that she was about to call on a cavalry point 20 miles away at Fort Braxton. Colonel Sarah Mitchell stood in the briefing room, where she'd been reviewing intelligence reports with her team. At 42 years old, she was a striking blonde woman with piercing blue eyes and the kind of presence that commanded instant respect. She'd earned her position through 15 years of flawless service, leading operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, and places that didn't officially exist on any map. Her team, Delta Squad, consists of 5 of the most lethal women in the military. There was Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez, explosives expert who could defuse a bomb blindfolded. Sergeant Lisa Chun, a sniper whose longest confirmed kill was 1,847 meters. Corporal Amanda Foster, a hand-to-hand combat specialist who'd never lost a fight. Sergeant Rachel Stone, a communications expert who could hack into any system. And Lieutenant Jessica Adams, a medic who could perform surgery in a combat zone. That Sarah's hands were shaking slightly as she ended the call with her father. Not from fear, but from barely controlled rage. Someone had put their hands on the man who'd raised her, taught her everything about honor and service, and still called her every Sunday just to make sure she was okay. "Ladies," Sarah announced, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. "We have a situation. Someone just assaulted my father." The room went deadly quiet. Every woman in Delta Squad knew about Bill Mitchell. He was their unofficial grandfather, the man who'd raised a woman who'd led them through countless impossible missions. He sent them care packages during deployments and remembered all their birthdays. "What do you need, Colonel?" Maya asked, already reaching for her gear. Full tactical response. Non-lethal, but I want these men to understand exactly what they've done wrong. Within 15 minutes, 3 black SUVs were racing through the city streets. Sarah sat in the passenger seat of the lead vehicle, her jaw set with determination. She'd changed from her dress uniform into tactical gear, black combat fatigues, boots, and body armor that made her look like an avenging angel. Her team was equally prepared. Each woman carried non-lethal weapons, tasers, zip-tie restraints, and pepper spray. This wasn't going to be a killing mission, but it was definitely going to be educational. Back at Murphy's Bar, Rex and his crew had settled in like they owned the place. They'd taken over Bill's corner, ordered drinks they had no intention of paying for, and were making crude comments to the few female patrons who hadn't already left. Bill remained at the bar, still holding the napkin to his cheek. Jake, the bartender, had offered call an ambulance, but Bill had declined. He was tougher than he looked, and besides, help was already on the way. "You still here, old man?" Rex called out. "Thought you'd learned your lesson by now." "Just finishing my beer," Bill replied calmly. "Your beer?" Rex laughed. "Everything in this place belongs to us now. That includes your drink." He started to get up, clearly intending to take Bill's beer as a final insult, when the sound of vehicles pulling up outside made everyone freeze. To the front windows, they could see 3 black SUVs arranging themselves in a perfect tactical formation. The engines shut off simultaneously, and 6 figures in black tactical gear stepped out with military precision. "What the hell?" one of the bikers muttered. The front door opened, and Colonel Sarah Mitchell walked in first. Even in full tactical gear, her beauty was striking. Blonde hair pulled back in a tactical bun, blue eyes blazing with controlled fury. But it was her bearing that truly commanded attention. This was a woman who'd led soldiers into battle and brought them all home alive. Behind her came 5 more women, each one moving with the fluid confidence of elite operators. They spread out in a perfect formation, cutting off all exits and establishing fields of fire. The bar went completely silent. Even Rex, for all his bluster, felt his mouth go dry at the sight of these obviously professional soldiers. Sarah walked directly to her father, her eyes never leaving his face as she assessed his injuries. "Dad, are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetheart," Bill said softly. "Just a little scratch." Sarah gently touched the bruise forming on his cheek, and for a moment, her professional mask slipped. This wasn't Colonel Mitchell anymore. This was a daughter looking at her hurt father. When she turned to face Rex, her eyes were arctic cold. "Which one of you put your hands on my father?" Rex tried to summon his earlier bravado, but facing down 6 obviously trained killers had a way of adjusting one's perspective. "Look, lady, I don't know who you think you are, Dash." "I'm Colonel Sarah Mitchell, 27 Special Operations Group," she interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of absolute command. "And the man you assaulted is my father, retired First Sergeant William Mitchell, United States Marine Corps." The color drained from Rex's face. Even a low-life biker knew enough about the military to understand that messing with Colonel's family was a career-ending mistake. "We didn't know Dash," one of the other bikers started. "You didn't know because you didn't ask." Lieutenant Rodriguez cut him off. "You saw an elderly man alone and decided he was easy prey." Sarah stepped closer to Rex, her blue eyes boring into his. "My father has more honor in his little finger than your entire crew has combined. He served his country for 30 years, earned 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star, and has never asked for anything from anyone." She paused, letting that sink in. "And you thought it would be fun to beat him up." Rex was sweating now, finally understanding the magnitude of his mistake. "We were just having some fun." No harm meant. No harm. Sergeant Chin stepped forward, her sniper's eyes cataloging every detail of Rex's face. "You punched an 85-year-old veteran in the face. You made him bleed. You humiliated him in front of a room full of people. And worst of all," Corporal Foster added, cracking her knuckles, "you did it for entertainment." The bikers were looking desperately toward the exits, but Sarah's team had positioned themselves perfectly. There was no escape route that didn't go through at least 2 highly trained soldiers. "Here's what's going to happen," Sarah announced. "You're going to apologize to my father. Then you're going to pay for any damage you've caused here. Then you're going to leave, and you're never coming back. Are we clear?" Rex nodded frantically. All his earlier aggression evaporated. Crystal clear. One by one, the bikers approached Bill and offered mumbled apologies. The elderly veteran accepted each one with gracious dignity, even as blood continued to seep from his split lip. When Rex's turn came, he could barely meet Bill's eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. I was out of line." Bill looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "Apology accepted, son. We all make mistakes. The measure of a man is what he does after." The simple grace of the response hit Rex harder than any threat could have. Here was a man he'd brutalized, showing him more dignity than he deserved. After paying Jake for the drinks and damages, the bikers filed out of the bar like chastened children. Their motorcycles roared to life, but the sound seemed somehow diminished now. Sarah knelt beside her father's stool, gently cleaning the blood from his face with professional efficiency. "Dad, I'm so sorry this happened." "Not your fault, sweetheart," Bill said softly. "Just some boys who forgot their manners. We should take you to the hospital, get you checked out." Bill waved dismissively. "I'm tougher than I look. Besides, I've had worse shaving cuts." Sarah smiled despite herself. Even after being assaulted, her father was trying to make her feel better. The other members of Delta's squad approached, each one checking on their honorary grandfather with genuine concern. "You okay, Mr. Mitchell?" Maya asked, "Right as rain, dear. Thank you all for coming." "You call, we come," Rachel said simply. "That's how family works." As the evening wound down, Sarah sat with her father in the now peaceful bar. The other patrons had gradually returned to their conversations, but there was a different atmosphere now. One of respect for the quiet old man in the corner, and awe for the daughter who had come to his defense. "You didn't have to bring the whole squad," Bill said with a slight smile. "Actually, I did," Sarah replied. "You taught me that family comes first, no matter what. These women aren't just my soldiers, Dad. They're my sisters. And that makes you their father, too." Bill's eyes misted slightly at the sentiment. "I'm proud of you, Sarah. Proud of all of you. We learn from the best," she said, squeezing his hand. As they prepared to leave, Jake the bartender approached nervously. "Colonel Mitchell, I just want to say what you did tonight, standing up for your father like that, it was incredible." Sarah smiled, but her expression was serious. "My father is a hero who's never asked for recognition or special treatment, but he's earned both. Remember that the next time you see an elderly veteran sitting alone." Jake nodded emphatically. "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Mitchell's drinks are on the house from now on." As the Delta Squad vehicles pulled away from Murphy's bar, Bill looked out the window at the city lights passing by. "You know, sweetheart, I could have handled those boys myself." Sarah glanced at her father and smiled. "I know you could have, Dad, but sometimes it's nice to know you don't have to handle everything alone." The next week, Murphy's bar installed a small brass plaque next to Bill's usual stool. It read simply, "Reserved for a hero." And every Saturday at 7 p.m., Bill Mitchell would sit in his corner, drink his beer, and watch the news in peaceful dignity. The Iron Wolves never returned to Murphy's bar. In fact, they avoided that entire section of the city. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is mess with someone's family, especially when that family includes the most elite female special forces unit in the military. Have you ever seen someone stand up for their family in an unforgettable way? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible tales of justice, family, and the bonds that can never be broken.